Now we as Liberian regret the death of our father, mother, uncle, aunt, cousins, nieces, nephews, brothers, and sisters. During the civil crisis in Liberia, 100,000 plus Liberians lost their life through the brutal civil war. And during the civil crisis, many Liberians had no choice but to flee or to find a safe haven for they and their children. And many was opportune to travel to neighboring nations, all right, Sierra Leone, Guinea, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria. And while in those nations, some was opportune to seek a greener pasture in North, South America, Europe, and Asia, etc. And while being opportune to travel to those nations, the only medium through which they could have access to better jobs, better health care, better education, was to seek permanent residency. And some was opportune to become a naturalized citizen of those nations. Now, the departure of thousands, if possible millions, of Liberians out of the nation was not based upon their own choice. Because if I can recall, before the civil uprising in 1989, Liberians actually did not have interest in traveling out of the nation. Why? Because there was peace and stability. The economy of Liberia was fast growing. In the 80s, Liberians were referred to as a small United States of America. Those that used to travel Europe, especially those within the business arena, that used to travel Europe to buy goods. Now, the moment they got to discover Liberia, they all ceased going to Europe. They all ceased traveling abroad. And they all used to come with trucks to Liberia to buy goods and take to the various nations. But unfortunately, the Civil War came in the picture, and many Liberians have to flee. All right, and we have thousands, if possible millions of Liberians within the diaspora. Some were fortunate to advance themselves within different fields of endeavors. We have Liberians today that are civil engineers. We have Liberians today that are medical doctors. We have Liberians today that upgraded the mental system, that studied hard, and they were opportune to earn the associate degree, the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, and the doctorate degree. with the sole purpose that tomorrow they will return back home to contribute the quota to the nation Liberia. And they did everything within their power to achieve the highest form of education. And I can tell you that Liberians within the diaspora, when they are opportune to go back to Liberia to contribute to the growth and the development of Liberia, I want you to know that Liberia will be compared to none within Africa and the world at large. Why? Because Liberians are learning to the best of their abilities. And many are waiting to return home. And but because of the failure of our fellow Liberians back home, or the government of Liberia to pass the dual citizenship that will enable Liberians within the diaspora to come back home without any form of segregation, that will enable them to come wholeheartedly, knowing that the brothers back home, the sister back home, have opened their arms to them wholeheartedly, in order for we all to work towards the rebuilding of our nation. And I want you to know that in order for Liberia to be built, it takes Liberians to rebuild their nation. And I want you to know that Liberians have the competency. Liberians have the potential to take the nation out of the status of being a tier 1 nation into a first world nation. Now, my reason for coming or doing this telecast or broadcast, all right, is to contribute my quota, okay, or to give my later understanding when it comes to dual citizenship in Liberia. Okay, so I will title this as Liberia, dual citizenship and radical Islam. Why am I against, or what do I feel that giving citizenship at this junction point, or at this point in time, to other nationals, why I feel it is not expedient at this time? And what I feel that giving dual citizenship to Liberians within the diaspora will contribute immensely to the economy and the infrastructure development of Liberia. Now, for my personal research, I have gotten to discover, or I got basically to discover that for years there have been a study as to how Liberia can become an Islamic nation. There are many case studies that have been done on Liberia. I remember in the 80s, there was a female that was sent from Saudi Arabia to come and do a feasibility studies or to come to Black Map, Liberia. And she was sent to come and do a feasibility studies. And from her findings, that the medium through which that Liberia could become an Islamic nation, the fastest and the most easiest medium was to get the women of Liberia. All right? Why? Because she got to discover that Liberians love the women. So whatever the women say is that which the men will do or adhere to. All right, when she got done with her feasibility studies, while on her way, there was an accident that occurred on Riverfield Highway. And she was taken to the Cadet Hospital. And the nurse that took care of her was a born-again believer. And through the instrumentality of this nurse, this lady was opportune to surrender her life to Christ. And that was how she came out to say or state her purpose and her mission within Liberia. All right. So I strongly believe that giving dual citizenship to others, nations, other nationals, will be a gateway to Liberia becoming a jihadic nation or Islam nation. That would be a gateway to Islam taking root in the nation of Liberia. All right? And as we can see in Europe, in the great United States of America, in the Middle East, now we see how radical jihadists have destroyed a lot of lives through suicide bombing, through beheading him like a chicken, if they say they do not have life. In our neighboring nation, Nigeria, we see how Boko Haram has slaughtered many Nigerians, how they have slaughtered many Christians, how they have burned down many churches. In Liberia, I want you to know that you are not exempted from such. The prime objective of Islam is to transform the nation of Liberia from a Christian nation to an Islamic nation. So what do I refuse? What do I reject? Dual citizenship for other nationals that were not born in Liberia. You see, because when such corridor is open, when such opportunity is given, we will find Liberia being filled with Muslims from every walk of life. Amen. And I believe it is not yet time. It is too soon under the administration of President George Weah, to give citizenship to those who are not born in Liberia. For typical example, when Liberians fled the civil crisis and entered into Ivory Coast, into Nigeria, into Ghana, into Guinea, into Freetown, we saw how Liberians was treated, how Liberians were malhandled by our neighboring nations. There were other privileges that Liberians were denied. Why? Because they were not citizens of those nations. And because they were not citizens of those nations, they treated Liberians anyhow. They did whatever they thought was necessary. And our fellow brothers and sisters did not have a voice. Some was killed in those nations. Some was in prison. And there was a point in time where Liberians were asked to leave those nations, where residency was denied our people, where citizenship was denied our people. And at the end of the day, the process of repatriation took place, began, and where our people was deported back home, simply because Ghana, the Ivory Coast, Guinea, Freetown, Nigeria refused to give citizenship to Liberians for the simple fact that they were not born in those nations. So I do not see why at this point in time we as Liberians should accept to give those nations the opportunity to receive citizenship within Liberia. I see no reason why we should give them an opportunity to come and own lands in Liberia. All right? So I said no to dual citizenship. No to dual citizenship. All right? To Liberia, to those who was not born in the nation of Liberia. Why do I say yes to dual citizenship? Or why do I support citizenship by birth for all born in Liberia? Now, typical example, we have Liberians that are in the diasporas in Europe, in the UK, in the United States of America. Now, the citizenship that is given to Liberians within the diasporas is conditional. And the condition is you have to adhere to every laws, every rules and regulation of those nations. Your failure to do that, you will be deported back to your nation of birth. And there were a lot of Liberians that was deported from the UK. There were a lot of Liberians that were deported from Europe. There were a lot of Liberians that were deported from the United States of America based upon the fact that they were not a born citizen of those nations. So whether we become natural citizens, listen, our citizenship is under condition. But listen, Liberia is our home of birth. Liberia is where we was given birth to. Liberia is where we were born. And whether you believe it or not, we all have a dream. We all have a vision. We all have a passion to go back and contribute to the success and the economic growth of our nation, Liberia. Now, if you look at the economy of Liberia today, all right, it is wholly and surely, or it has been upheld by Liberians within the diasporas that send thousands of dollars to the loved ones, to the upkeeping of the loved ones, that send thousands of dollars for the well-being of the father, the mother, the siblings, and other relatives. And those money that are going into Liberia, those are the money that are circulating within the economy. So that tells you that we have a desire to return to build our nation. We have a desire to return to contribute to the progress of our nation. Now, at times we feel very sad that if our fellow Liberians become ill, they have to fly them to Ghana. They have to fly them to Nigeria. They have to fly them to neighboring nations to seek medical attention, simply because we do not have a good healthcare system, simply because we do not have people that are specialized within certain areas. Imagine Liberia as a nation. Whenever our people have a problem with the kidney, you have to carry them to Ghana for dialysis, because we do not have the facility, because we do not have the machine, and because we do not have people to operate those machines. I want to present to you, within the diasporas, we have Liberians that are diversitized, that have learned within those different fields of endeavors. Liberians that are waiting to return back to Liberia to give our people the best health care, the best health or medical treatment at a higher scale. That where or when a Liberian is ill, we do not have to flood them. Why? Because we have Liberians with the ingenuity, with the capability and the ability to treat their own people, to operate on their own people. We have Liberians that are surgeons. But your denial to give your fellow citizens, your fellow Liberians, the ability to receive a dual citizenship, is going to put the nation in the state of regression instead of progression. I support dual citizenship. Amen. I support dual citizenship by birth. Liberians within the diasporas have children. They born children within those nations. And those children was opportune to travel, they were opportune to learn. It was bad for you to know the amount of Liberians, children, or children that were given birth in those various nations. It will bad for you to know the amount of them that have earned the master's, the doctorate degree. And we are looking forward that one day our children too will go back to contribute to where the parents came from. So I want to encourage my fellows Liberians to think wisely. If you look at Ghana, now I was opportune to fly over Ghana. And when I was flying over Ghana, it was as though I was flying over the United States of America. It was as though I was flying over Europe. See the infrastructure development in Ghana. If you fly over Ghana by night, you will never know that you are in Africa. But do you know what? It is because of the same dual citizenship that the government of Ghana afforded those Ghanaians that was born by birth and that went or was in the diasporas. And when they begin to return, what they saw in their nation of naturalization, they begin to go back and carry it within the system. They begin to go back and build those infrastructures and contribute to the nation. Listen, we as Liberians, we can do likewise. We as Liberians, we can do the same. Amen. Now, by the grace of God, I am a U.S. citizen. But when I'm traveling to Africa, I travel with my Liberian passport. All right, to tell you that born once a Liberian will always be a Liberian. I was born in Liberia, as many. I grew up in Liberia. I went through the Civil War in Liberia. Okay. We all went through starvation. We all ate what we call 5 fingers. We all ate BSC. We fry it like what we call Freda or Kada. All right. Many days we had no food to eat. For some days, it was Lipton tea that sustained us. I remember there was a day hunger became very intense. And I had a neighbor that killed a dog. And we had the money to go and purchase that dog. And my cousins went and purchased that dog just for us to buy food. Just for us to have food to eat. And do you know what? I purpose in my heart, I said, if I would die, I'd rather die. But I will not put a dog meat in my mouth. And they roasted it and they ate. But I refuse. But do you know what? What sustained me that day, there was some chicks. And when I saw those chicks, as little as they were, what I did, I killed it. And I imagined those chicks as little birds that flies. And I roasted it, and that was what I ate. Amen. So, it's my prayer too that the church in Liberia will wake up. I strongly believe that the church has a voice when it comes to the whole dual citizenship. Okay? I believe that the church has a voice. So I'm looking forward to the church taking her role, playing her part within this decision. All right? But again, in conclusion, in closing, if we Liberians are not mindful, I am saying this. If we Liberians are not mindful, if we choose to open up dual citizenship to those within the Middle East, because when you are giving dual citizenship, you cannot segregate. So those within the Middle East will come. Those from Lebanon will come. Those from Asia will come. Those from North and South America will come. Those from Europe will come. And when they all come to Liberia, it is not all that is coming with a good motive. Some will come to get wealthy or to get rich. Because what they will do, they will come with the money and they will buy the land. And they will sell those land exorbitantly to our own born citizens. Our arms are open definitely to foreigners. The places that Ghana, foreigners do not own a business. If you own a business, you have to go through a citizen. That citizen got to be at the forefront. Are you with me? Let's look at the Lebanese in Liberia. For many years, they have been, the Lebanese and the Indians. For many years, they have been in Liberia. What development over the centuries that they brought to Liberia? Go down typical Waterside. Look at the stores that they sell in. Or Ken Johnson Road or Benson Street or wherever it is. They contribute nothing in terms of infrastructure development. So this is just my view. I am not a politician. Okay, I'm a minister of the gospel. I am well versatile, gifted when it